to More Living with Jim Brogan, your source of information for living the best years of your life your way. For more than a decade, host Jim Brogan and his expert guests have come together each week to share important news and advice that can impact the lives and well-being of those who are retired and those nearing retirement. Learn about issues like health and fitness, financial planning, social security benefits, investment advice, and more. And now, here's the host of More Living, Jim Brogan.
Good morning, East Tennessee. Welcome to More Living with Jim Brogan, where it's all about living the best years of your life your way. This is News Talk 98.7 WOKI. And, you know, Knoxville is known as one of the more affordable places to live in the country. We have good-paying jobs. We have great schools and a low cost of living. You know, we've got a little bit of a, you know, the city's enough of a size to have not a big city feel, but enough of a city feel, yet it's just a great place to live. Coming into 2020 and even through the pandemic, Knoxville has one of the hottest real estate markets because of the affordability of our area. And when you couple the affordability with historically low U.S. interest rates, purchasing a home and one that is bigger or more expensive is more realistic for a lot of people. However, Knoxville is in a seller's market right now. Low inventory. Some homes are selling not just in a matter of days, even a matter of hours. And if you're in the market for a new home, how can you ensure that you're getting a good deal and aren't buying at the top of the market? And if you're selling, how can you make sure your home is the one buyers will covet and you can get that quick response and get a price that you want? So this morning we are joined by Scotty Eklund. He is sales manager at Weichert Realty. Good morning, Scotty. Welcome to More Living.
Jim, good morning. Good morning. It's great to be here. Just want to let you know I'm honored to be on your show. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh, it's great to have you on. Hey, Scotty, you're not originally from Knoxville. So like others who relocate to East Tennessee, what drew you here and kept you in the area?
Well, actually, grandbaby sucked me from the East Coast to Knoxville. My wife, lovely wife, and I, we have 4 daughters, 9 grandbabies, and a couple grandbabies here in Knoxville. And so we decided to make the trip about just under 4 years ago.
You know what? We have children. Our oldest is going into her sophomore year of college, and then we have a high schooler. But my wife has always said she wants to be smothered in grandchildren one day. So I completely get it.
Yes,
well, hey, Scotty, Knoxville's real estate market has always been healthy and has often fared better than some areas during an economic downturn. Why do you think our area has done so well?
Well, you know, as you know, Knoxville is resilient, and and even through this pandemic, it's coming back with a vengeance. And Knoxville kind of has this ability to dodge the recession bullet, you know, really because of the location and University of Tennessee. We have corporate offices here in Knoxville. You got Oak Ridge. You know, as you said in starting the show, we're a smaller but larger feel. And East Tennessee is beautiful, and it's drawing people from all over the United States, California, West Coast, Northeast. People just love East Tennessee. As I said, Tammy and I have been here 4 years. We have absolutely fallen in love with Knoxville.
It is a beautiful area. You know, it's almost, I think, the Knoxville, if you count the entire metropolitan area, which would be Knoxville and the surrounding counties, I think we're up maybe around 925,000 population.
Yeah.
I'm actually, I'm actually a little concerned because when you get over 1 million, you start showing up on lists for people that are searching for places. And I just wonder if we get to, or when we get to 1 million, if there would then be more explosion. What have you seen in other markets as they've started getting close to that $1 million threshold? Million people.
Million people, yeah, that's absolutely true. But I will say the essence of Knoxville and what's so attractive is it is that small / big city. So, but there is that threshold, and And no doubt if and when we hit that, I think it's going to have that kind of effect. Now, I have no idea in my metrics of when that might actually take place, but you're absolutely right. That could be a reality down the road.
Now, a lot of areas, Scotty, a lot of areas in town have low inventory of of homes for sale. Why do you think there is such a surplus of buyers and just not much inventory? I mean, it's definitely a seller's market, right?
Yes. I mean, the market right now in Knoxville is so strong. I mean, June saw a new listing rebound at 33% increase over 2019, Jim, a 1.63 listing over last year. So the 1.36 has been the best new listing month, June, this whole year, if you can get your head around that. So it's a very, very strong seller's market at this point. It's good news, bad news. Great news for the seller, not such great news for the buyer. It's creating a little bit of frustration for our buyers. They have to make a quicker decision on spending probably the most money they've ever spent in their lives. And so I always tell them when they're seeing the house, they love it, they want to put an offer, or then they say, well, actually, we just want to sleep on it. And I always tell them, well, if you sleep on it, you're probably not going to sleep in it. Not in this market. So it has shown itself to be a very strong seller's market, creating some frustration for our buyers, no doubt.
Yeah, that's really something. What price range is it? Is it under 300,000? Is it under 500,000? I mean, up to what price are you seeing that type of hot activity?
Yeah, it's between 2 and 3. I mean, we have actually in units sold last month, 37918 up in Fountain City up there was just crazy strong. And the median price was $208,000, and the median price per square foot $125. And so yeah. And then of course 37922, our area here, was showing itself strong, and the median on that was $377,135 per square foot.
Yeah, now that was actually my next question, is kind of what you're seeing price per square foot. Are these record highs? And is the price warranted? I mean, I guess, it's supply and demand. If if homes are that hot, people are going to get that. But are those record highs for price per foot?
Yes, close to it. Absolutely. And the sellers, as we go into a multiple offer situation, and so they're getting list price. And these will be listed. The ones here in Fountain City, this is just a crazy number, but the days on the market were like 9 days. I mean, they're just turning so fast. And so anyway, I'm saying all that to say that they're getting list price and more. And
I've heard that. I've heard some sellers, they'll put their home on the market and they'll get 2 or 3 interested buyers and they'll get more than list price.
Absolutely correct. That happens more often than the other.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is an absolute seller's market. And the sellers, if you're out there, you're listening, you're a seller, you're thinking about selling your property, my recommendation would be get an appraisal before you list your house. Of course, the professional, your real estate agent's going to do comps, and that is strong, and that's good. But what's happening in this market is sellers are not getting the appraisals, and they are being shown the comps by the professional, but still feel they could get more for that property, especially when multiple offers come in. Let's say it's listed at $250, and they get an offer at $270, and they're licking their chops. They're like, yeah, let's go. We got this. Well, then that appraisal comes in $10,000 under, and that just causes some issues.
Oh, with the financing for the buyer.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah. I tell you what, we're going to get to our first break, Scotty. When I come back, I want you to kind of walk through us what your days have looked like kind of going into April with the pandemic, and then how has it evolved over the last couple of months? And then what do buyers need to be doing? How can buyers make sure they're not overpaying? I mean, there's just so many complications here. So please stay tuned as we're visiting with Scotty Eklund. He is a sales manager for Weikert Realtors, as you're listening to More Living with Jim Brogan, right here on News Talk 98.7 WOKI.
You are listening to More Living with Jim Brogan. During the week, Jim is a financial advisor, an author, and speaker with an MBA from the University of Tennessee, who specializes in helping people in or near retirement plan for the next phase of their lives. You can reach Brogan Financial during the week at 865-862-6800 or on the web at broganfinancial.com. And now, here's Senior Market Advisor Magazine's 2011 National Advisor of the Year and host of More Living, Jim Brogan.
And it's a beautiful Saturday morning here in Knoxville. It's going to be a scorcher, so make sure you drink plenty of water and, try to stay cool. It's such a beautiful area here in East Tennessee, and the housing market is just red hot. And today we're visiting with Scotty Eklund. He is a sales manager at Weikert Realty. And, Scotty, what does a typical day on the real estate market look like the past few months? Like, what did that look like going into April when the pandemic was really, everything was shutting down? And then how has that changed over the last couple of months? Because you said everything's just picked up so much.
Well, we had to we had to be very intentional and strategic when the COVID-19 came about in the real estate market. As an agency, we here at Weikert Realtor Advantage Plus just gathered the troops, and we said we got to think out of the box in this season. How are we going to serve our sellers and buyers even better through this particular season? So what we did is we implemented our virtual showing leverage in the realm of our Matterport. We have a 3D Matterport camera on site, so we have an ability to give the consumers the opportunity to do a 24/7 open house through the online Matterport.
So they can do a virtual 3D tour. So they can kind of do a virtual 3D tour of the house.
Absolutely. It gives a dollhouse view, floor plans. I don't know if you've experienced it or not. It's amazing. Or if you ever want to check it out, our website's Knoxville3dhomes.com. We put them all on that website. And the consumer just clicks on the little round dot, and it literally 3D walks them through the house. And then we had to also shift to, obviously, and embrace, if I may, the Zoom.com principle. And so a lot of our consultations, a lot of our listing presentations continued, but we just did it via Zoom, and we're able to really truly serve our buyers and sellers. So in the physical office, as you can imagine, it's quite quiet. But in real estate, we have the advantage because agents, work a lot from home anyway. So when the pandemic hit, the transition of office to home, that was not a new thing for our real estate agents. Many of them worked from their home. They all have home offices. So, that was not even a speed bump. And so we just really had to embrace the pandemic and say, okay, what are we going to do to serve our clients better? So in reality, it called us up like open houses. We did not have to go. We weren't allowed to do open houses, but we did it virtually. So our agents went and videotaped the actual property. And then on a Sunday when we'd actually do our open house, we did live, or we posted that video on Facebook. When you do an open house physically, you'll get 10, 12, 14 groups that come into the house to experience that moment. When we did it virtually, we'd have 400, 500, 600 views. So as a real estate agency, we were like, oh, wow, okay, we need to leverage this not only now, but post-pandemic, which we have. And so, yes, there has been a shift. Now what we do with our open house, as you said, you asked now how we transitioned as a real estate agency and real estate in general. Like, for example, the open house, we still do the virtual open house, and we'll highlight that on a Saturday, get 400 or 500 views. And then those that have an opportunity to see the house online, then they can say, yeah, I would really want to go take a look. And then they actually physically go to that open house. But the exciting thing, Jim, for the real estate market is the real estate agents that are intentional, that have a strong work ethic and are investing time and energy to serve their clients well. Those are the ones that are finding extreme success. It's the ones that said, you know what, the pandemic, the stay at home. Well, I'm going to choose to take this time and champion at my business and invest in my business at this time. And so then when the pandemic comes to a closure where our city opens up once again, our agents were on their toes, not on their heels. And they were able to embrace the current market and find phenomenal success. This is what we were, the real estate market in many situations will be the driver that will take a city out of a recession. And we kept helping our agents understand this. So let's be prepared. Let's be ready. What are you doing to serve that client? And then as we came out and our city begins to open up again, we had an opportunity to leverage that market for us as real estate agents.
Yeah, and consumers have gotten used to shopping in new ways. But, one of the things I was thinking of when you were talking about that, Scotty, is, when you're purchasing a new home, generally you walk through someone else's living space to determine if you can see yourself living there and what that space really, truly looks like in person. So what kinds of challenges have there been now with people showing or looking for a home with all the medical concerns during the pandemic?
Sure. That's an amazing question. And, as a real estate agent, health and staying healthy and making sure your clients are safe is the number one priority. So,
and protecting the home seller, right? I mean, you go into
absolutely correct. And there were some I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
There were some home sellers that for a season were refusing to, allow the public to walk through their house. The ones that obviously were vacant were easy peasy, were able to navigate through that well. But we would assure the seller, my buyer's agents, that, we're going to bring the necessary things that we need to do to clean the handles, take off our shoes. We're not going to be touching everything. We're going to give leadership to our buyers as we're walking through the house and just assure them that we're going to ultimately take care of their property and not leave any cooties, if I may.
Sure. Yeah, it's so important. I mean, I can imagine, from a buyer standpoint, but especially from a seller standpoint. Now, Scotty, you mentioned Fountain City. What are some of the hotter areas in town, and why are they so desirable?
Well, Fountain City and North Knoxville, that area, obviously it's price point, and it's adorable. And so Fountain City, it mainly is the actual price point. It's growing and it's exciting. And then you have some of the off-market, the distant markets. The Powell is hot right now, and of course 37922 is hot, and that's all in the realm of the closed sales. In the realm of listings, as you heard, our new listing, not only percent has gone up, but volume has gone up. The housing market is experiencing healthy appreciation, and the healthy appreciation is not just for 2020, but some of the experts are predicting a healthy appreciation in 2021 and 2022, and so with that, we're not only getting more listings, but the price points are higher, and the consumer is getting more, for their dollar there. Absolutely. 379. Okay, go.
What are you seeing now, Scotty, in terms of what the top things people are looking for in terms of must-haves for a home or even a neighborhood?
Well, very, very good. That is changing. There's a shift there because, the kind of ramifications and consequences, if I may, and of the COVID, where the open floor plan was famous. It was trendy. People really wanted that. Now we're finding that the consumers looking for more walls and looking for office space, looking for an ability to have places where they can do their work, focus, spread the family out a little bit more. So we're finding a little bit about that.
That's
also
interesting.
We're finding that it's also affecting the residential real estate market's hot. Now the commercial real estate is soft. And I feel some of that is coming from the pandemic in the sense that people are working more from their home. There's corporations are finding they're not needing as much office space, that kind of a thing. But also what we're finding is, families that are kind of moving away from the urban feel, and you see that statistically moving away, kind of want to get more suburban and even more rural areas to kind of get away, if I may, from the population and avoid any kind of infection from the COVID-19.
Wow, it's just amazing how things are evolving before us. And I think businesses are evaluating. You mentioned the commercial real estate market. Businesses are kind of reevaluating how they work and what their needs are.
Yep. With
all the virtual capabilities. And a lot of that, I think, Scotty, is consumers are now more open to shopping that way in all sorts of industries. And, and as you said, it's even in the real estate industry. Tell you what, we're going to get to our next break. When we come back, we're going to have more with Scotty about what do you need to be doing if you're a buyer, because, to try to get a reasonable value. How should you be looking at the interest rate environment when you're shopping? And we'll also have our dollars and cents segment. We've had a tremendous stock market recovery, and while the economic side has started to be showing signs of life, we do have a series of fiscal cliffs coming up that are going to make things challenging. So what do you need to be doing with your money, and how do you need to be managing and evaluating your investments? So don't go away. We got a lot coming forward here on News Talk 98.7 WOKI. This is More Living with Jim Brogan.
Through his weekly radio show, television news appearances, and adult education classes taught at the University of Tennessee and Pellissippi State Community College, Jim taps into his extensive knowledge and experience to address issues important to living your best retirement. Join Jim every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. here on News Talk 98.7 WOKI, and visit him online at broganfinancial.com. And now, here's the host of More Living, Jim Brogan.
Welcome back. Knoxville's such a great place to live, and the Knoxville housing market has just become red hot. And shoppers are changing the way they shop. Buyers are changing the way they can list. We're visiting with Scotty Eklund. He is a sales manager at White Realty, and it's really fascinating hearing about the Knoxville real estate market. We're going to have more with Scotty in just a minute, but first, it is time for Dollars and Cents.
Want to be sure you are getting the most out of your retirement? For all the years of your retirement? That's the primary goal of More Living with Jim Brogan and our Dollars and Cents segment, where we provide you with an important financial tip that will help positively impact the quality of your life in retirement. And now, here's Jim with this week's Dollars and Cents tip.
Stock markets are unusual right now. The market has really come almost all the way back, not all the way, but getting close since the market highs in February. The economic recovery is showing signs of life. However, we have a series of fiscal cliffs coming up where, stimulus from the government is going to be expiring. And it's going to be a series of things. Later this month, the unemployment supplement from the federal side of the extra $600 a week, that's going to be going away. The Paycheck Protection Program for small businesses is going away here in about 3 weeks. The support for the airlines payroll is going away in September, I think it is. We've got protection for home renters from eviction that's going away. There's a series of things coming up. And meanwhile, almost 23 million Americans are saying that they don't know if they're going to be able to make their rent payment in August. So, it's great that things are showing signs of life, but then as the pandemic is picking up again and numbers are increasing and we've got the expiration of a lot of this economic stimulus, what does that mean as we head into the fall and into a presidential election cycle? If there's anything that this last 4 or 5 months has really underscored with investing, it's that in the short term, there's just no telling what may or may not happen. Nobody saw a pandemic coming, of course. That was what we would call a black swan event. But, on March 21st, I just don't know anybody, even into early April, that was expecting that the markets would come back the way that they have come back in the U.S. stock market especially. It just goes to show that markets are very, very unpredictable in the short term, and they're very, very volatile potentially. And so what that means is there's a lot of continued challenges coming up. There are also opportunities with what's going on in the medical field, with technology, with vaccines and treatment protocol for COVID-19. So I think what's critically important is that you evaluate, how long has it been since you really evaluated the risk in your portfolio and you rebalanced and you looked at your diversification? How heavily are you correlated to the stock market? And is that the type of correlation you want? Measuring past risk metrics in a portfolio is actually a pretty good predictor of future risk metrics. We know that past returns are not a good predictor of future returns, but measuring risk metrics are. So I think especially as you get closer to retirement and into retirement, now is a great time, especially with this rebound in the market, to evaluate the risk in your portfolio. We can measure that and know what type of volatility you're likely to expect in different kinds of markets. We can stress test portfolios. What if this happened or that happened? What if interest rates spiked? Or what if there was a 40% downturn in U.S. stocks? We can test those kinds of things. So if you haven't done it in a while, or maybe you've never really tested the risk in your portfolio, it's so important in managing our behavior in the short term when we see this kind of volatility to have at least a reasonable expectation of what your volatility in your portfolio is going to look like. So do that. Take a minute to, take the time to evaluate risk. And then also look at what your cash needs are likely to be in the short term, because what you don't want to be doing is living on risk investments in the short term. Think about it. If you needed money in March or April and the market was substantially down, you were kind of stuck if you had to sell off investments while they're down. And that's the one thing you just can't do if you want to build successful wealth. You have to have a plan where when you need money, and that can be income for those of you that are getting near retirement or retired, that income is protected from the short-term volatility and unpredictability of the stock market. So this can be accomplished. You've just got to measure your risk and understand your risks and also secure your shorter-term cash needs. And really, in my view, you need to protect your cash needs out a good 4, 5, 6 years. I do want to mention, check us out online at broganfinancial.com. I have a new webinar that is going live. It's about the retirement tax trap. And it's about the fact that we are spending huge amounts of money. Our debt as a percentage of GDP, as a percentage of the size of our economy, is continuing to skyrocket, and what are the implications for that down the road with our tax system, and what can you be doing now to protect yourself from that? So check us out online, broganfinancial.com. We've also got our upcoming classes in August and September with Pellissippi State and the University of Tennessee, 2-part classes. The next one, to Thrive Financially in Retirement, is at Pellissippi State. And this class, we are offering not only live in class with distancing and masks and all of the different guidelines we need to have in place to protect you, we're also simulcasting that class virtually. If you'd rather be at home in front of your computer and not come out, I do love live. I feel like we can be very effective teaching face-to-face, but, in today's world, the virtual side is very, very important, and we can be very, very effective. We did this in May at the University of Tennessee. We did a virtual-only class, and it went super, super well. So check us out. Check it out online. Go to PellissippiRetirementPlanning.com. That's coming up in August. We would love to see you there. We've been visiting with Scotty Eklund. He is a sales manager with Weichert Realty, and we're talking about the real estate market. Scotty, I heard recently that there's been a lumber shortage, and that people who've been working from home finally started working on some of those home projects or updates that they've been kind of putting off for a number of years. What kind of updates can add the most value to a home?
Yes. Yeah. I know in the middle of the stay at home, I went to Lowe's and it was crazy. I mean, every time I went to Lowe's, it was crazy. So the sellers. It's
amazing inventory in all kinds of different industries and inventories that you just can't get stuff. It really is amazing.
Yes. No, it really is. So, but to answer your question, as a seller's preparing to, put their house on the market, if they're having any kind of inkling to invest some money into their house to create a higher value, obviously, the updated kitchen will bring more value. Obviously, the updated master bath and bathrooms will bring more value. But the reality is you don't have to spend a lot of money to create value for your home. I mean, you could throw some paint on the walls. Of course, new floors bring value. Actually, a new door will bring value. So there's a lot of these smaller projects that you could create that really does matter to the potential buyer as they see your house. That first impression means everything. So in a realm of investment and return, it would be your kitchen, your bathrooms, those types of things.
That makes sense. We've always heard that. So, I was kind of expecting that you would say that. But there are some things, as you mentioned, even with just new paint that isn't real expensive, that can really improve the aesthetic appeal. Now, for buyers, for the buyer, Scotty, it is tough because it's such a hot seller's market. And as you said, you can't even sleep on it at night. If you really like a place, if you sleep on it, as you said, if you sleep on it, you're not going to be sleeping in the house. I thought that was a great thing that you said. What are some pitfalls buyers can avoid when buying in this market, and how can buyers protect themselves?
Yes, the Weichert way has always been, but we have taken it to the next level in the realm of buyer's consultation. Before we show any houses, we always sit down with the buyer, with the client, and, we do a needs assessment. We want to find out exactly what they're looking for. But now more than ever, that's so important, Jim, because we have to do well to articulate expectations for our buyers. And we have to coach them well in the sense of, do you have your pre-approval? Are you connected with your lender? Can you get that pre-approval quickly? I'm not talking about pre-approval that comes in the mail. I'm talking about, did you initiate conversation with a lender? Do you have that pre-approval? And then also you have to, help them posture their hearts well that they're going to have to make a fast decision. And so with our virtual opportunities. They get a better look at the house virtually. And then when they physically do go into the house, they're already one step ahead. Then we have to help them understand that we will be putting an offer ASAP and that there's a potential of multiple offers situation. And as a real estate agent, you're going to help them understand still there's another game plan, strategically that as a real estate agent, in the sense of helping your client, you could help them understand that you could put in what we call an escalation clause. You're going to communicate with the list. You're going to have your buyer write the seller a letter and express emotionally why you want that house. That really makes a difference. And then again, that the buyer's agent is going to communicate well with the listing agent to say, what is your seller looking for? Does the closing date make a difference for your seller? How about earnest money deposit? So that the good, strong buyer's agent is going to ask those good questions and literally communicate with that list agent and then help your buyer understand that, we're based on my comps, we're going to make this offer, but you really don't want to exceed this because it's not going to appraise for this. So we have to get their heart's posture well with that even though they love that house, I'm not going to allow them to pay, nor is their lender going to allow them to pay $15,000 more than the value of the house.
Sure. Well, so what I'm hearing there is you got to take the time up front to be really prepared so that you can act quickly and you've done your homework and you can be thorough. And so you have to do that work up front. Tell you what,
absolutely,
we're gonna, when we come back, I want to ask him about, with it being such a seller's market, is it a bad time to look at getting a second home or even diving into the into the rental market? If you're interested in expanding your income, and then what about with interest rates? How should you be shopping interest rates? So don't go away. We're visiting with Scotty Eklund. He's sales manager at Weichert Realty. As you listen to More Living with Jim Brogan here on News Talk 98.7 WOKI.
Thank you for listening to More Living with Jim Brogan. If you miss any of today's show or want to listen to it again, visit BroganFinancial.com, where you can access the podcast and other educational materials to help you in your journey through retirement. And now, here's Senior Market Advisor Magazine's 2011 National Advisor of the Year and host of More Living, Jim Brogan.
We live in such a beautiful place here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I hope you're enjoying the summer. Be careful today. It's going to be really, really hot outside. The real estate market in Knoxville has been really, really hot. We've been visiting with Scotty Eklund with Weichert Realtors. I do want to mention real quickly before we get back to Scotty, be sure to check out our upcoming class at Pellissippi State Community College. It's a 2-part class, How to Thrive Financially in Retirement. It's on August the 13th and the 20th. Those are 2 successive Thursday nights, again, the 13th and the 20th. We'd love to see you there. You can go to PellissippiRetirementPlanning.com for more information and to get a syllabus. You can either attend live or you can attend the class virtually. Scotty, I mentioned rental homes and, second homes. It is now a tough time for people to dive into that market with the prices up so much, or can people get enough on rents that it still works?
Yeah, great input. I had a conversation with one of our gold service partners, Darren Poppin, Mortgage Investor Group, yesterday, and he the current 30-year fixed rate right now is 2.875, Jim. And then
That's
the
amazing.
15 is a bit lower at 2.5, 2.6. So to answer your question, as an investor, yes, you're paying more, but your return on that rental, it's going to, 2 to 3, 4, 5 years, that no doubt is going to make its way back. The rental market is also saturated and strong here in Knoxville, Tennessee, of course, with the corporations, of course, with UT, those types of, venues that bring more rental opportunities. The rental market right now here in Knoxville is crazy strong. I know someone in North Knoxville. They own a house just off of Broadway. Their mortgage is $700, 1,800 square foot, and they're getting $1,800 a month for rent.
Wow. Yeah. Well, and as you said, I want to kind of underscore that with the interest rate environment, because when interest rates are at such historic lows for mortgages, what ends up happening is, you're paying more for the house, but because your interest amounts are lower, you've got more going towards the principal. So it that's a great point in that, the home prices are up, but because interest rates are so attractive. So for even, going back to home buyers or even somebody, I know you're not a mortgage broker, Scotty, but can you just give us some basic advice quickly on what people should look out for when shopping interest rates and even looking at, all the different options out there?
Yeah, what buyers don't understand is they'll shop for a house, but not necessarily shop rate. And I help them understand that you can't just lean into one lender. You might even have a lender that's a friend or your wife's friend or that kind of. You can't do that, Jim. You have to be wise. And so when I'm showing houses and we're shopping for a house, I always recommend that they shop for the lender. And I always recommend they call 2 or 3 lenders to see which one is going to fit them better, give them the best package, if I may. And so therefore they're not missing out. They're getting that second opinion, that third opinion. They could put the numbers on the table, put the lead pencil to the paper and go, this is a better fit for us. Let's move forward. But a lot of buyers don't realize, especially first-time home buyers, that they have an availability to literally shop rates and shop lenders and what is the best package that's going to meet their needs. And
that is important. Now, Scotty, you became a realtor as part of a second career after being a pastor. So what does it take to become a realtor, and is now a good time for people that are looking at making the jump into real estate?
That's a great question. And as through our whole program, we're realizing that Knoxville is a great market. And, Jim, this is an amazing time to get into real estate. It's an amazing time to go to real estate school, take that exam, and assimilate into a real estate agency that's going to be productive and produce success for that new agent. So, yes, I did transition, no doubt, from full-time pastoral vocation, and that's really worked for me in the realm. I love to serve people, and that is my heart. It's been my passion, Jim, all my adult life, and then I have an opportunity now to assimilate that passion in the real estate market. So I would recommend.
Yeah, and I can really, Scotty, I can really hear that passion in your voice. Hey, we've only got about 20 seconds. How can people contact you if they're interested in either buying or selling a home, or they're interested maybe in a career in real estate?
Yes, they can. We're Weichert Realtors Advantage Plus. www.advantageplustn.com is our website. And our phone number is 865-474-7100. And for those that are interested in a career in real estate, go to AdvantagePlusCareer.com or call me personally. 865-748-6404 is my cell number. And a lot of these stats, a lot of this information, I post weekly on my blog. It's ScottyEcklandRealtor.com. Click Your Agent.
Scotty, thank you.
Blog.
Scotty, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for tuning in this week to More Living with Jim Brogan. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Jill, for producing the show right here on News Talk 98.7 WOKI. Have a great week.
The views expressed by Jim Brogan and his guests are not that of Cumulus Media. Any discussion of financial, legal, and tax planning strategies is not intended to be individualized advice and is general in nature. Always consult with your advisor for advice specific to your needs. This program's content does not represent a recommendation of any particular security, strategy, or investment by Jim Brogan or Brogan Financial Incorporated.